There's an invisible force within you that chooses who you'll love, who will hurt you, and who will leave long before your conscious mind even registers what's happening. This ancestral force, which Edgar Cayce called soul memory, works silently through the subconscious, orchestrating encounters that seem coincidental but are actually appointments dictated by spiritual contracts made long ago, in other existences, in other lives. Today, you'll discover how this same force, meant to protect and guide you to true love, can become your greatest saboteur, creating repetitive patterns of pain, abandonment, and romantic disillusionment that perpetuate themselves life after life, until you finally awaken to the truth. Your soul already knows, but your mind still resists accepting. Imagine for a moment that every time you fall in love, it's not just your present heart speaking, but also the echoes of all the hearts you've ever been, all the souls you've ever loved, and all the wounds you've carried through the centuries. Sigmund Freud, the pioneer of psychoanalysis, discovered that the subconscious is like an infinite archive where all the experiences that shaped who you are today are stored. But he didn't know that this archive isn't limited to this current life. Edgar Cayce, through his spiritual visions, revealed that the subconscious is actually a cosmic repository of memories that transcend time and space, a sacred place where all your experiences of love, loss, betrayal, and healing are recorded throughout multiple incarnations. That's why when you meet someone and feel that inexplicable sense of familiarity, as if you've known this person for an eternity, you're not imagining things. Your soul truly does know this person. It has shared stories of love and pain with them in other dimensions of existence. But here's the big mystery. If you've loved each other before, why do relationships still end in suffering? Why do you keep attracting the same types of people who hurt you? Why does it feel like you're trapped in an endless cycle of finding love, losing love, suffering the loss, and then repeating it all over again? The answer lies in the unconscious protection mechanisms your subconscious has created over many lifetimes to shield you from pain. Each time you were betrayed, abandoned, rejected, or hurt in past relationships, your subconscious created an energetic mark, an emotional scar etched not only on your current psyche, but on the very essence of your soul. These marks act as alarm systems that trigger automatically whenever you get too close to someone, whenever you're about to completely surrender to love, whenever you're on the verge of a true and deep connection. What happens then is that paradoxically, at the very moment you should be most open to receiving love, your subconscious fires all its defense mechanisms. You start sabotaging the relationship without even realizing it. You pick fights over insignificant things. You find flaws where there are none. You withdraw emotionally. You look for evidence that the person will betray or abandon you. You interpret loving gestures as manipulation. You turn affection into suffocation. You project old fears onto present situations. You relive past dramas in new relationships. It's as if there's an inner voice constantly whispering, "Careful, you've suffered too much because of love. Don't surrender completely. Always keep a part of yourself protected. Don't trust fully. Prepare for the inevitable disappointment." This voice isn't your enemy. On the contrary, it was created by the love your soul has for you, but it's operating with outdated information, with traumas from other lives that no longer belong to your present reality. Think about how many times you've sabotaged yourself in relationships. How many times have you pushed away someone who truly loved you because you were afraid of being hurt again? How many times have you chosen to remain in toxic relationships because in some twisted way, the familiar pain felt safer than the possibility of a true and unknown love? How many times have you said "I love you," but your actions demonstrated the exact opposite? How many times did you create problems where there were no problems, found reasons to fight when you should have been celebrating, or simply ran away when you should have stayed? All these seemingly irrational behaviors make perfect sense when we understand that we're dealing with deep karmic patterns that repeat themselves from life to life until they are consciously transformed. Edgar Cayce taught that the soul chooses its relationship experiences not to suffer, but to learn, to heal old wounds, to balance misaligned energies, and to evolve spiritually through love. But when the subconscious is dominated by traumatic memories from past lives, it ends up turning each opportunity for healing into another opportunity for suffering. Subconscious sabotage works through various subtle mechanisms that most people can't consciously identify. One of the most common is projection, where you project onto your beloved the characteristics of people who hurt you in the past. You look at your current partner and unconsciously see the face of someone who betrayed you in other existences. You hear words of love, but your subconscious interprets them as lies based on ancestral betrayals. You receive gestures of affection, but your wounded soul perceives them as traps based on painful experiences from previous lives. Another mechanism is compulsive repetition, where you unconsciously recreate the same relational dynamics you've experienced before, even when you swear to yourself that this time will be different. You choose partners who share the same emotional characteristics as those who hurt you in the past. You put yourself in the same situations that have led to pain before. You repeat the same communication patterns that have destroyed your previous relationships. It's like you're trapped in a movie that replays endlessly, and with each new iteration, you simply change the scenery and the actors, but the script remains the same. There's also the mechanism of self-sabotage through low self-esteem, rooted in past lives where you were rejected, humiliated, or deemed unworthy of love. Your subconscious carries these memories of inadequacy, making you believe, deep down, that you don't deserve to be truly loved. So when someone genuinely special comes along and offers pure, true love, your subconscious sounds the alarm. This is too good to be true. You don't deserve this. This person will soon discover who you really are and abandon you. Better to walk away first before that happens. But perhaps the most painful mechanism is the fear of abandonment, which creates a paradoxical dynamic where you push people away precisely because you're afraid they'll abandon you. Your subconscious, based on memories of devastating losses from other lives, prefers to create the abandonment before it happens naturally, because at least that way you maintain the illusion of control. It's as if you'd rather jump off the building than risk being pushed, but the end result is the same. You end up alone, confirming to your subconscious that your protective strategy was correct, thus creating a vicious cycle that perpetuates indefinitely. Edgar Cayce explained that these patterns aren't punishments, but opportunities for spiritual growth in disguise. Every relationship that enters your life, every person who awakens intense feelings of love or pain, every situation that makes your heart race or contract, are all invitations from your soul to finally see and heal these old wounds you've carried as heavy baggage through the ages. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, won't stop sending the same lessons until you learn what you need to learn. That's why you keep attracting the same kinds of situations and people. It's not because you're unlucky or destined to suffer, but because your soul is desperately trying to show you where the wounds need healing, where the patterns need transforming, where the lessons need learning. The good news is that when you finally awaken to this dynamic and identify these subconscious patterns, you gain the power to transform them. The first step is developing awareness of your self-sabotaging mechanisms. Begin observing your behaviors and relationships with compassionate curiosity, without judgment, but with a sincere intention to understand what's really happening behind your actions and reactions. When you feel that familiar urge to pull away from someone who's being genuinely loving towards you, pause for a moment and ask yourself, is this fear real, or is it just an echo of the past? When you feel like picking a fight over something insignificant, take a deep breath and ask, am I reacting to the present situation or to ghosts from other lives? When you catch yourself interpreting gestures of love as manipulation or finding flaws where none exist, stop and reflect, is this person truly like that, or am I projecting old wounds onto them? And here, at this moment of awakening to this profound truth about how subconscious sabotage works in love, I want to extend a special invitation to those of you who have journeyed with me this far on this path of self-discovery. If these words resonate with you, if you're feeling that intimate recognition of patterns you may never have been able to name before, but always knew existed, then you're part of that special group of souls ready for real transformation. And it's for people like you that I created this channel, a sacred space where I share the deepest teachings on emotional healing, spiritual evolution, and conscious relationships. If you want to continue receiving these revelations that can literally change the trajectory of your love life and spiritual journey, click the subscribe button now and activate the notification bell, because that way you'll be the first to receive each new video that may contain exactly the key you need to unlock the next level of your healing journey. Don't let the algorithm decide whether you'll have access to these transformative truths. Make that conscious decision now and ensure that these messages reach you at the divine moment your soul needs them most. Transforming these subconscious patterns requires an approach that goes beyond traditional psychology and enters the realm of spiritual healing. Edgar Cayce taught that true healing happens when we can access the soul's memories and energetically reprogram the patterns that limit us. This can be done through various spiritual practices that work directly with the subconscious and the deepest layers of the psyche. One of the most powerful techniques is contemplative meditation, where you create a sacred space of inner silence to dialogue directly with your subconscious. During these moments of deep quietude, you can access memories from past lives that are influencing your current relationships, understand the origins of your fears and traumas, and receive direct guidance from your soul on how to heal these ancestral wounds. Healing past wounds to create loving relationships. Scene: a therapist's office or a serene, quiet setting. Sarah, a woman in her 30s, is speaking with her therapist, Dr. Emily Carter. Carter: so Sarah, you've been exploring the concepts of subconscious reprogramming and spiritual healing. Tell me more about what you've learned. Sarah: well, I've been reading a lot about the work of Edgar Cayce, and it's been incredibly insightful. He talked a lot about the importance of prayer as a tool for subconscious reprogramming. Not just any prayer, though. He emphasized contemplative prayer, where you connect with your inner spiritual presence and ask not just for healing of your wounds, but also for understanding the spiritual purpose behind your challenging relationships. It's through this divine connection that you transform from a victim's energy into a co-creator of your loving reality. Another key practice is working with spiritual affirmations that directly reprogram limiting beliefs embedded in your subconscious. But these can't be superficial or mechanical affirmations. They need to be profound statements that touch the essence of your soul and create new energetic imprints more aligned with the true love you deserve to receive and express. Forgiveness is perhaps the most powerful tool of all for healing subconscious self-sabotage and love. But Cayce taught about a specific kind of forgiveness that goes far beyond mental or emotional forgiveness. He talked about karmic forgiveness, where you release not only the people who hurt you in this life, but also those who caused you pain across multiple lifetimes, including past versions of yourself who made choices that resulted in suffering. This karmic forgiveness is an act of liberation that literally breaks the energetic chains that keep you bound to repetitive patterns of pain. When you truly forgive, not just with your mind but with your whole soul, you remove the negative energetic imprints from your subconscious and create space for new love experiences based on present awareness, not past trauma. It's important to understand that this healing process doesn't happen overnight. Soul wounds were created over multiple lifetimes, and their healing is also a gradual process that requires patience, self-compassion, and a genuine commitment to transformation. There will be times when you feel like you're regressing, times when old patterns seem stronger than ever, times when you question whether healing is even possible. Those moments are actually signs that healing is happening. When deep-seated patterns are disrupted, they tend to intensify before they dissolve completely, like a storm that gets more intense before it passes. It's crucial that you don't give up during these challenging periods, but see them as evidence that your spiritual work is functioning and that the old structures are finally being dismantled to make way for the new. A fundamental aspect of this process is learning to distinguish between the voice of your soul and the voice of your ancestral fears. The voice of your soul always speaks with love, compassion, and wisdom, even when it's showing you truths that are difficult to accept. It encourages you to grow, invites you to heal, reminds you of your divine worth, and guides you toward relationships that honor your highest self. The voice of ancestral fears speaks with fear, judgment, and limitation. It convinces you that you're unworthy of love, fills you with suspicion about others' intentions, and makes you believe that all relationships inevitably end in pain. Learning to identify these two voices and consciously choose to follow the guidance of your soul is one of the most important skills you can develop. This requires consistent self-observation, regular moments of inner silence, and a genuine commitment to truth, even when that truth challenges your most deeply held beliefs about yourself and about love. It's also essential that you understand that healing these patterns doesn't mean you'll never again feel fear or insecurity in relationships. It means you'll develop the ability to feel those fears without being controlled by them, to recognize them as echoes of the past without confusing them with the present reality, to use those sensations as opportunities for healing instead of reasons to withdraw from love. When you can do that, something magical starts to happen in your love life. You begin to attract people who are aligned with your healed essence, people who are also committed to spiritual growth and conscious relationships. You stop repeating the same old dramas and begin to co-create new love stories based on authenticity, healthy vulnerability, and mutual commitment to evolution. Your relationships transform from battlegrounds where old wounds are constantly reenacted into sacred spaces where souls evolve together through love. You discover that it's possible to love deeply without losing yourself, that it's possible to be vulnerable without becoming a victim, that it's possible to trust without being naive, that it's possible to surrender to love without giving up your personal power. This transformation doesn't just affect your romantic relationships, but all your relationships. You begin to relate more consciously with family, friends, and colleagues, because the patterns that were sabotaging your love life were the same ones limiting all your human connections. By healing the soul wounds related to love, you unleash a cascade of healing that spreads throughout all areas of your life. And here's one of the most profound revelations of Edgar Cayce's teachings: when you finally heal these subconscious patterns and become capable of loving and being loved in a healthy and conscious way, you not only transform your own life, but also contribute to the collective healing of humanity. Every person who breaks ancestral cycles of pain and creates new patterns of conscious love is literally raising the vibration of the planet and making it easier for other souls to make the same healing journey. That's why your personal growth isn't just about you, it's a service to all of humanity. Every time you choose love over fear, every time you respond with compassion instead of reacting with anger, every time you open yourself to vulnerability instead of shutting down defensively, you're contributing to the spiritual evolution of us all. Edgar Cayce taught that we are living in an era of great spiritual awakening, where many souls are incarnating specifically to break old patterns and create new possibilities for the human experience of love. If you've come this far in this message, if these words have awakened something deep within you, it's highly likely that you are one of those pioneering souls who came to do exactly this transformative work. Your healing journey isn't just a personal journey, it's a spiritual mission you chose before you were born. Every wound you heal in yourself, every pattern you transform, every relationship you manage to live more consciously is contributing to the creation of a new paradigm of love on Earth, a paradigm where relationships are spaces of mutual growth instead of battlegrounds, where love is a healing force instead of a source of suffering. And when you finally manage to live this way, when your relationships become expressions of your higher self instead of repetitions of your deepest traumas, you discover that it was all worth it. All the pain you felt, all the confusion you experienced, all the relationships that ended in tears, all of it served to prepare you for this moment of awakening where you finally understand that true love isn't something you need to conquer or deserve. It's something you are in your purest essence. Love isn't something that happens to you, it's something that happens through you. When you liberate your subconscious from the prisons of fear and allow your soul to express itself freely through your relationships, you become a pure channel for divine love to manifest on earth. And there's nothing more transformative, more healing, more evolutionary than that. Now, as these words echo in the silence of your soul, as you feel this deep recognition of the truth you've always known but never been able to articulate, I leave you with a question that could completely change the course of your love journey. Are you finally ready to release your soul from the chains of the past and allow it to dance the sacred dance of true love? Or will you still choose the false security of your familiar prisons, even knowing now that the keys to freedom have always been in your hands?